You're fired.
All right.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
What time is it then? Please tell these guys.
It's Tony time, bitches.
Welcome to Tony's MMA Corner, the only MMA channel that can headline WrestleMania. Oh yeah! I am your host, Tony Sepulveda! And today, we're gonna find out if Rener Gracie is a BJJ sellout, if Endeavor purchasing the WWE means anything, and what is going down at UFC 287. Let me tell you something, brother! If you want to purchase these shorts, just click the link in the description! Ah! This past weekend, many in the BJJ community were at each other's throats because of the Jack Greener case, in which he was a victim of a freak accident in which his instructor, Francisco Sinistro, and Del Mar Jiu-Jitsu Club were sued for $46 million. And he won this case based on the expert testimony of Rener Gracie. Rener Gracie really demonized Sinistro. If you look at the footage, which we're going to show right here, what I see is a person resisting the technique, and unfortunately, a freak accident happens. I do not see malicious intent. I do not see an instructor being reckless. These things do happen in the jiu-jitsu world. These things do happen in training. They are very rare. And just because it was a horrible, horrible accident, and everyone feels terrible that Jack Greener is now paraplegic, I still don't feel that everyone should be dogpiling on him. And it's also very suspect that Rener Gracie was allegedly being paid $3,000 an hour for his expert testimony. With this bit of information, that expert testimony doesn't seem very authentic. It does seem bought and paid for. Listen, in BJJ training, black belts train with white belts, and sometimes in that training, we're going to try a little bit more advanced techniques on said white belts. Because sometimes we're trying out new things, and sometimes we're coaching them. So these things tend to happen. Obviously, we try not to let them happen, but the back entry that Francisco went for was a very common back entry that I used to go for. So this is something that probably could have easily happened to me, and I wouldn't have wanted anybody to dogpile me just because I'm trying a new technique. That's like taking judo class and not wanting to try a Seoinage. Because by the way, if you're going live in judo, the likelihood of you being tossed on your head is very high. But we still train judo. We still train wrestling. So these things can happen. Everybody understands that. That's why we sign waivers. And with that being said, we're also not trying to hurt each other. So shame on you, Rener, for trying to demonize this man. An update to the story is that Rener Gracie has stated that he will be donating that $100,000 that he made, so you can do what you want with that information. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've all heard that Endeavor, the company that owns the UFC, has now purchased the WWF from Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is still going to be running it, just like Dana White still runs the UFC. Now, the internet started freaking the hell out when they heard this news. I think everybody just needs to wait and see what's happening and relax. It looks like, just like the UFC, it's going to run as normal, and there's really nothing to get worked up about. However, if there are things that are going to happen, one of the things I hope happens is that Ariel Helwani also gets banned from the WWF. Or WWE as it's now called. I'm old school. To me, the most shocking thing is that the WWE was worth $9 billion. Good for you, Vince. Who would have thought that something that the majority of the world sees as silly is worth $9 billion? Now who's silly?
Personally, I'm glad the guys that kept the violence going during the scamdemic have joined forces.
Another thing that came up when guys heard the word of this news was fighter pay once again. Jake Paul says that hopefully Endeavor purchasing the WWF will improve fighters' pay. Now, I don't understand how that works in his head, but that's what he said. But he's Jake Paul. I don't even believe that he really cares about fighters' pay. This is the same guy that scammed his own fans out of their hard-earned money through NFTs, which to this day, I still don't understand. I mean, what are they? Are they pictures? I mean, can I just screenshot it? Like, and I have an NFT? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I've had it explained to me a million times. I still don't understand what they are. This Saturday, UFC 287 looks like it's do or die for both Izzy and Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal has lost his last 3 bouts, so a loss to Gilbert Burns would definitely have people talking about retirement, and if he'd be the next person to fight Roy Jones Jr. at Game Bred Boxing. Right now, Gilbert Burns is riding the momentum of a Stephen Thompson win and a perceived win in the eyes of the fans against Khamzat Chimaev. I gotta say, I absolutely love the violent run that Masvidal had a couple years ago, but it looks like momentum is on Gilbert's side. So I'm taking Gilbert Burns to win a close decision based on his far superior grappling skills. In the main event, we have Israel Adesanya versus his arch nemesis, Alex Pereira. I don't know how to say it. In their last bout, it looked like Izzy was just about to cruise to a unanimous decision victory. But right at the closing minute of the 5th round, Alex knocked Izzy so hard, he didn't know if he was in Australia, New Zealand, or Nigeria. And Alex became the middleweight champion of the world and getting his 3rd victory over Adesanya, 2 being in kickboxing. If Israel loses again, it does not look good for the stylebender, especially if Alex can hold that title for a long time. Now, I will say, after watching their last match, it doesn't look like either guy is very well versed enough in the grappling to hold that belt much longer. Because you got guys like Khamzat, who's coming up to middleweight, and you got Bo Nickel, who's working his way up. If these guys don't improve by the time those guys get to the top of the mountain, neither guy has a very long career in the UFC. As far as who I think takes this one Saturday, you know what? The guys won 3 in a row. I feel like it's a toss-up because all the fights, Izzy's always in them. But Alex just always seems to beat him. So I'm just not going to bet against him. So I'm going to have to go with Alex beating Izzy for the 4th time and just ending the rivalry. If there ever was a rivalry. So those are my picks. I got Gilbert Burns and Alex Pereira. Well, guys, that's it for me. And I'll see you guys next time on Tony's MMA Corner. Clothesline!